The night rose slow over the silver dunes, and the alien fox girl walked the ridge with soft steps. Her tail brushed the dust in small arcs, and her ears tilted to the thin wind. She whispered to the moon, "Why didn't he return?" And the words drifted, like pale smoke over the quiet lands. She remembered the day the human left. He stood by the broken shuttle and looked at the sky with tired eyes. He said he would come back when the gate opened again. She held the small medal he gave her and promised. To wait, the gate closed like a silent wave, and the world felt empty since that moment now. She moved through the old valley and listened for new engines. She listened for any echo that might be him. The hills answered with stillness. Water slept in, black pools under stone bridges built before her birth. She knew each rock and each windsong because she had walked the same path for many seasons. Her name among her people was a soft sound like leaf over glass. Humans could not say it well. So, he called her Lark. She liked that name because it felt light. It felt like hope that could lift even heavy hearts when she walked alone. She tried to carry that light in her chest. In the town by the desert, a small human settlement had grown around. The cargo pier lights blinked low in the night so pirates would not see them. There lived a woman named Lily, who traded tools and dry fruit. Lily knew the alien fox girl because both had helped mend roofs during a bad storm. Lily always spoke gently, and never mocked her tail or her ears. Lily said that ships came and went, and sometimes they carried news from the far belt. She said that the one called Aaron had joined a rescue crew and had gone beyond the belt into rough space. She said the crew saved people from a mining ring after a starquake. She said no one knew where the crew had gone next. The alien fox girl heard this and stood very still. She let the news pass through her like cool rain. Then she thanked Lily and went back to the dunes. She told herself that a rescue crew could return at any time. Hope was a fire that needed tending, so she guarded it with care. She had her own work. She watched the old Stargate from a hill of iron sand. Once each night it hummed low, as if, in sleep, the ring would warm and then turn cold again. She wrote the pulse in a small book made of plant fiber. She did not use human letters, but she had learned to count the beats when the beats were strong. New paths were near when they were faint. Travel was risky and ships stayed away. She also cared for a grove of thin trees that drank brine from shallow wells from the leaves. She brewed a tea that kept sleep away during the long watch. Sometimes she shared the tea with a traveler one night. A young woman named Claire arrived after a long ride from the pier. Claire had grease on her hands and a wrench in her bag. Claire said she fixed engines on supply skiffs. She said she had seen a beacon packet from the belt with a rescue tag. She said it came from a ship called Silver Kite. The alien fox girl felt her ears rise. She knew that name because the human had once carved it into a stick while they waited for a sandstorm to pass. Claire said the packet was weak, but it spoke of courage. A crew pushed their ship past safe limits to reach a far colony. They gave their own air to strangers and burned fuel in a hard climb out of gravity. Then the message cut out like a candle in wind. The alien fox girl looked at the moon again that night and told it to remember the name Silver Kite. She told the moon to carry the name across the cold sky. She closed her eyes and pictured the human sitting in a narrow chair and smiling at the idea of home. She pictured his hands holding the metal. Days turned like pages. She helped fix a water pump for a family with 2 little girls named Megan and Nora. They liked her tail, and she let them braid it with bits of ribbon from a market stall. She afterward took the ribbons off when she went to the gate because she wanted to look steady and strong, but she kept them in a small pouch and touched them. When the nights were heavy, one evening a dust storm rolled from the north. The sky turned the color of rust, and the air scratched. At the throat, the alien fox girl pulled a hood over her head and tied a cloth under her chin. She carried a lantern and the metal and moved toward the gate to check the hum. The wind grew fierce, but she pushed forward. She counted her steps and thought of the small book with its rows of marks. When she reached the hill, she pressed her ear to the old stone of the gate cradle. She heard a new sound. It was a low, steady tremble like a heart finding its rhythm after a long silence. She ran to the town and found Lily in the storehouse. She said, "The ring is waking and the pattern is strong." Lily looked at the radio and tried to tune the sky. She asked Claire to bring the skiff to the high ridge where the signal was clean. Together they climbed in. The dark storm sand raced past like white rivers on the ridge. Claire raised a mast and leaned into the wind. Lily worked the dials and the alien fox girl held the mast so it would not sway. They heard a crackle, and then a soft voice broke through. It was a calm voice that spoke of approach vectors and low fuel and a damaged hatch. The voice asked for permission to cross, and the code matched the silver kite. Lily shouted with joy. Claire cried into her sleeve. The alien fox girl did not cry, because the wind stole every tear. But her heart burned bright and steady. The gate answered the code with a new pulse. The ring lifted like a bright crown, and the air around it sang. The storm still roared, but the sound of the ring was stronger. The alien fox girl felt the hair on her arms rise. She placed the metal around her neck and stood where the gate path would open to the landing. Flat Stime slowed and stretched. A line of light traced the air, then widened like a door. A small ship glided. Out with its lights dim to hide from pirates, it skated down to the flat ground and settled on bent struts. Its hatch opened, and a group stepped out. They moved with care, and helped a child whose face looked gray from long travel. The alien fox girl looked for him and did not see him. Her tail curled close like a shield. She took a breath and walked toward the group. She greeted them in simple words and offered tea from a small kettle in her bag. She told them they were safe, and pointed to the path that led to warm rooms in the town. A tall woman with a captain band thanked her and said the one she sought had stayed behind on the far side to hold a damaged gate cradle in place. He had done this so the ship could cross without tearing. The woman said another crew was trying to pull him out. She said he sent a last message to the one he called Lark. The alien fox girl stood still as a rooted tree. The captain placed a small device in her hand and said the message was inside Lily, and Claire came close but stayed quiet. The alien fox girl raised the device to her ear and pressed the button. A warm voice filled the night. It spoke in slow, careful words because the gate made speech slip. He said he was proud of the people who now breathed because of their choice. He said he knew the desert and the moon would keep her strong. He said he would follow when the brace was set and the flow was calm. He said he wore no metal because she kept it safe. And that was enough then. The sound faded into the hum of the ring. The alien fox girl looked up at the moon. She whispered again. Why didn't he return? But this time the words did not break her heart, because now she knew he had not been lost without meaning. He had given his air and his strength so small lives could cross the dark. That was the kind of story he always hoped humans would live. She turned to Lily and Claire. She said they would keep the beacon lit and the ramps clear. They would guide new ships and share water and tea. They would teach the children how to braid ribbons into rope and rope into ladders. They would build a school by the grove. In the days that came, the town grew brighter. More travelers arrived and some stayed. A woman named Grace taught music to the kids, and a woman named Paige ran a clinic by the pier. The grove grew thicker and the wells ran cleaner at night. The alien fox girl walked the ridge and watched the gate. She wrote the pulse in her small book and kept the metal close to her heart. Sometimes a wind would rise and she would think she heard a step behind her. She would turn and see only shadow and stars. She would smile and whisper that he would find the way. When the sky was ready, she would stand tall with the light of the moon on her fur and her ears forward to hear the first hint of his step. And when the ring hummed strong, she would climb the hill with Lily and Claire. They would raise the mast and call to any ship in the dark. They would say, "This world is safe and kind and brave." They would say, "Come home." The alien fox girl waited there each night and each dawn, not empty, not lost, but full of quiet power, full of a fire that would not fade, because she had learned the meaning of the human story. She held to keep faith, to hold the line, to open the way for others, and to trust that a promise is a path that can cross the longest dark. She whispered to the moon one last time before sleep. She said, "He will return when the sky is ready, and until then, she will be ready too." And the moon seemed to nod over the silver dunes while the town below breathed calm and bright under the watch of the waking gate.